Hello and welcome to the Daily Show here on Claret and Booze. I want to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about the transfers, the latest transfer news. There's quite a lot of it about. We're going to sort the wheat from the chaff, hopefully. But then leading on from that, I want to talk about, is there a bit of a war of, I don't know, not a war of words, but a war of actions between David Moyes and David Sullivan, the Battle of the Davids. And then finally, I want to talk about something nice and light-hearted. We're going to talk about the Friday night away fixture to SERVETTE, I think it's pronounced, Swiss, which will be our very first game of the pre-season. We're going to talk about that just to end on a high note. Hopefully a high note anyway. Give the show a watch. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Claret and Booze. Give the video a like and hit the bell notification icon. So first up, transfer news. Now, a lot knocking about, so I just want to, rather than covering everything, I just want to cover a few important things because I think it links up with the second topic I've got to talk about. So, Armando Broja, this one's been knocking around for some time now. He's known to be David Moyes' preferred target as a striker. So, and I think a lot of us would like to see him join the club as well. Got a touch of the Arnautovic's about him, but anyway, he's been done to death. But the situation is, Chelsea seem to be holding on to him, holding out for a price, trying to get a higher price, and apparently we've already approached Chelsea with a 30 million bid. I don't know if that's true or not, but there was a recent development where before Richarlison went to Spurs, Chelsea went to Everton and said, right, we will give you Broja plus 15 million for Richarlison. So that would, in theory, that would value Broja at 35 million. Maybe. That's if they valued Richarlison at 50 million, the same as Spurs, which I assume they did. Now, that aside, Chelsea are playing hardball, so there's not really much we can do. But does that suggest that if we went back with an improved offer from 30 to 35, that we might get our man? Are we not doing that because it's one of David Moyes' targets? I'll come to that later. The next big link, apparently we've put a bid in for this guy as well. And again, this is a Moyes target. This is for Amadou Onana, a 6'7" member of the Harlem Globetrotters. He's huge, this guy. He plays for Lille. He's a central midfielder. He has telescopic arms and legs. I think he can cover the length of a football pitch in 5 paces. That's how big this guy is. He's huge. A giant of a man. But he's 20. He's 20 years old. And so this guy, apart from having, huge physical presence, he's got a lot of developing to do. Now, some people are suggesting that the bid for him would mean the end for Souček. Now, I'm not so sure it would mean the end of Souček because Souček is what you call a proven player. This guy, from what I can see, isn't. He's shown a lot of promise, and apparently Arsenal and co were sniffing around him. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but Lille seem to want too much money for him. Apparently the bid we've put in is 20 million, and that was from Darmesh, I think, on Sky. Now, Lille want 50 to 60 million. 50 to 60 million for an unproven 20-year-old giant who may become a giant of the game one day. But he ain't won yet, and that's why he's not worth 50 to 60 million quid. It's another one I haven't heard of. But anyway, while we're talking about this, and this takes me on to my next topic. So, so far we've put in a bid, probably for Broja around the 30 million mark. Chelsea are sort of saying no. We've put in a bid of 20 million, which is nowhere near enough for Lille. Both of those are David Moyes' preferred signings. And yet, when we talk about Danjuma, the one who is not, is someone that David Moyes doesn't want. We've agreed a 45 million euro fee with Villarreal. Now, that is a Sullivan signing. So, are we at a bit of an impasse between David Moyes and David Sullivan? Are we seeing, David Moyes he seems to be drip feeding players to Sullivan. And I think we've seen, I don't know, you could guess at the reason why he's doing that. I suspect the reason he's doing it is because as if he was to go public on the list of players that he wants, it wouldn't take very long and very, very many Jim White shows before all of those players have been undermined as being crap or too expensive, right? So I think he's doing it one at a time. But when David Sullivan is seemingly forced into bidding for a player that David Moyes actually wants, does he perhaps not try hard enough to get that target over the line to meet the because I don't believe Lille actually want 50 to 60 million. I think that's a starting point for negotiations. I think they probably, hopefully they're not that stupid. Hopefully they'd settle for what seems to be a reasonable price of 25 to 30. So by stopping at 20, is that Sullivan's way of saying, well, Moyes, we tried? And when it comes to Brozier, 30 million, sorry, we tried. We tried to get you target. Now about this bloke over here. And look, Moyes is not going to fall for those tricks. He's not going to fall for those tricks. I mean, to my mind, he has once or twice. But this is surely this is not what we've come to as a club. We've come, about two opposing forces with one who just cannot keep his fingers out the cookie jar in David Sullivan, who badly wants to be involved in transfers, and David Moyes, who seemingly has the last word, but won't actually tell his boss his full list of targets through some sort of fear of it's gonna get out or it's gonna get ruined. There is another potential reason of why we're being slow, and I don't want to worry you. But I'm going to, and that is in August we have a Conference League playoff, a two-legged playoff. If we win that two-legged playoff, we've got potentially 15 European matches to contend with if we go all the way. If we don't win that two-legged playoff and we get knocked out, we've got 15 matches fewer to play. Is some of the thinking behind the slowness in the transfer market us trying to see whether we're going to qualify for the Conference League or not, to see if we've got those extra games? In which case, look, I'd make that to be sensible if it was the last couple of bonus players that you're going to get in your squad. But this is not. We're at a stage where we're not talking about bonus players, we're talking about core players. And we need a small bunch, probably 3 or 4 at least, additional players to be to come in and be ready to go in the first team. And I want to see 2 of those at least come in July. So look, Moyes, Sullivan, stop pissing around. Get together. See who's a realistic target. Who would realistically want to come to West Ham and isn't hanging themselves out for Champions League football? Who we can realistically afford? Let's not keep pissing in the wind and trying to go after players we're never going to get. I think going back to Onana, I think that's probably a player we should be able to get. So I'm quite happy with that approach, and I'm quite happy with that level of player as well. He isn't the finished product yet, but he might well be very soon. And that's the sort of player I like to see come through the door at West Ham. So look, let's hope this turns to the positive sometime soon, because we just seem to be in a holding pattern at the moment, and it's got to stop. I will give one more example of where I think Sullivan is perhaps not tried enough when it comes to convincing a player. Jesse Lingard. So you make your own mind up. Is this David Sullivan playing silly buggers and wanting to get his own way in the transfer market? Or am I reading this completely wrong, and every single decision is David Moyes' decision, and Sullivan is just a facilitator who goes out and does what he's told and tries to bring the players that David Moyes wants? Anyway, enough of that. I'm getting myself wound up making this video. But moving on, let's talk about something altogether more pleasant. And I've got to get my notes up here because I honestly haven't got a clue who this team are. On Friday night, we play our first pre-season friendly away against Servette, as it's pronounced in German. Servette? Swiss Super League side, Servette, at the 30,000 capacity Stade de Genève on Friday evening. I hope it's being streamed by the club, because otherwise we're not going to get a chance to see it. It's definitely not going to be on any TV channel anywhere, obviously. Anyway, a bit about this club, Servette. They were founded in excuse me, 1890. They've been around for years. Now, I've never heard of them, but they've been around for years. Gal Clichy, formerly of Arsenal, plays for them. Last season, they finished 5th in the Swiss Super League. And that's below some players that you would, sorry, some clubs that you would recognise. Don't recognise these. They've won the Swiss League 17 times and Swiss Cup 7 times and 3 League Cups as well. These are giants in the Swiss League. It's just the Swiss League ain't very big. Right, anyway, that is me done. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, please subscribe to the channel Claret and Booze on YouTube. Give the video a like and hit the bell notification icon to be alerted of new shows. We'll be back. I think we might be back tomorrow actually, but no, no promises. Might be tomorrow, might be the day after. We don't just make these videos daily when we've got nothing to talk about. We just wait until we've got something to discuss before we make a video. Otherwise, you just end up watching white noise. Anyway, thank you very much all. Speak to you soon, and come on, you irons.